He ruled the greatest empire on earth. Legions carried his name across continents, and his decisions shaped the fate of millions. Yet every night, the Emperor of Rome sat alone with a pen in his hand, asking himself one quiet question: am I being a good man? This is the story of Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who discovered that the hardest kingdom to rule is the one within. Marcus Aurelius was born in 121 AD into wealth and power. From a young age, he stood apart. While others chased glory, Marcus sought wisdom. He was drawn not to pleasure, but to philosophy, to the teachings of Stoicism, which taught that true strength lies in mastering oneself, not the world. He lived simply, dressed plainly, and cared little for titles. People called him the philosopher, and yet destiny placed the weight of Rome upon his shoulders. At 40, Marcus became emperor, ruler of the mightiest empire in history. But he never saw power as a privilege. He saw it as a test. The world remembers emperors for conquest and glory. But Marcus Aurelius was not like the others. His reign was filled with hardship, war at the borders, famine in the cities, and a deadly plague that swept through Rome. While others might have broken under the weight of fear and chaos, Marcus sought peace not in control, but in clarity. Intense beside his soldiers, he began writing his thoughts, reminders to himself on how to live rightly, endure pain, and stay humble. These private reflections, never meant for the world, would become one of the most timeless books in history. Meditations. In those pages, Marcus fought a war more difficult than any battle fought with swords. The war within his own mind. He wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." While enemies surrounded Rome, Marcus turned inward. He faced his anger, his fear, his pride, and refused to let them rule him. When generals betrayed him, he forgave. When fate struck him with grief, he endured. When he lost, he learned. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way to him." Obstacles were not barriers, they were teachers. Every pain was an opportunity to grow stronger, kinder, and wiser. Marcus believed that philosophy wasn't about escaping life. It was about facing it with courage. Stoicism to him wasn't cold detachment, it was fire, a steady flame that burned through doubt and fear. He reminded himself daily that life is short, that death is certain, and that all we truly control are our choices. Yet instead of despair, he found freedom. "When you arise in the morning," he wrote, "think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to love." Amidst war and uncertainty, he practiced gratitude. He chose peace over anger. He found meaning not in ruling others, but in ruling himself. Power often corrupts, but Marcus remained humble. He refused to hate even those who plotted against him. He believed that people do wrong out of ignorance, not evil. "The best revenge," he said, "is to be unlike your enemy." Unlike tyrants, he didn't rule with fear. He ruled with example. He shared his soldiers' hardships, lived modestly, and treated servants with respect. He didn't see himself as a god, but as a man, flawed, learning, trying to live with virtue. That honesty made him immortal in a way no empire ever could. In 180 AD, after years of struggle, Marcus Aurelius grew ill on campaign. He had lost friends, his wife, and much of his strength, yet his spirit remained steady. When death approached, he faced it as he had faced everything, calmly with acceptance. He told those around him, "Everything is just as it should be." And then quietly, the philosopher-king closed his eyes. He left behind no monuments of gold, but something far greater, a philosophy of life that would outlive Rome itself. Nearly 2,000 years later, the words of Marcus Aurelius still speak to us. They remind us that true greatness isn't about wealth or control, it's about inner mastery. They remind us that every obstacle can be turned into a step forward, that peace is not found by escaping struggle, but by embracing it with grace and courage. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius didn't just wear a crown, he carried a burden and transformed it into wisdom. He taught that calm is strength, that virtue is victory, and that the greatest empire you will ever conquer is your own mind. So when the world feels heavy, when anger rises, when chaos surrounds you, remember Marcus Aurelius. Remember the emperor who commanded millions, yet bowed before truth. The man who ruled the world, yet sought only to rule himself. Because as he wrote in his final pages, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So guard your thoughts, feed your fire, and let your life like his burn with wisdom, courage, and peace.